I think when it comes to that kind of philosophy, I think you do need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, and perhaps compile those statistics and say, okay, overall, if I played it safe, would it give me a bigger result in the long run, rather than if I had just gone in for those complicated positions. And also you have to, because this will also determine your style, because there's a lot of people that I know that kind of consider themselves aggressive players. They're like, yeah, I don't like these boring openings, because I'm so aggressive. And then you look at the way that they play and you're like, literally, there's not an aggressive move that you played ever. And so you should navigate to the kind of to those kind of closed, safer positions. And I do think statistics will be really useful here, and this is where perhaps AI.
That's the ongoing, never-ending, discussion where we lead with my husband, because he tries to prove that if I play it safe, I will, just in the longer run, I will get more points, because when I get to those complications, they can backfire and I can lose. I lose more. Like, again, if we just count the points, and I say, but you feel like, you have this desire to go forward. And unfortunately,
I have
a lot.
I have to say, I know a lot of grandmasters very similar to your grandmaster, your husband, who's also a very strong grandmaster, and they always say to me, "Look at the price of a mistake. If the price of a mistake is super high, and it's not that comfortable for you, it's not that overwhelmingly winning. And if you're looking at a mistake where it's boring, a position where it's boring, and the price of a mistake isn't that much, then you should steer to those type of positions. But we will see. It's a big decision again for Lei Tinjie. She's not playing the most natural move. And is she considering to kick back that knight, or will she take the more positional approach, which is simply to complete her development and then initiate active operations? Well, I'm going to leave you all on a cliffhanger, because it's the perfect time to take a quick break. And there we see that once again, all the action is going to be happening in Shanghai Game 5. And we will see you in a few minutes. This is break time.
Do you wish playing a chess game with a friend was as easy as sending them a text? Well, good news. Now it is. With Chess.com's new iMessage app, you can start and play a game directly in iMessage. Your friend doesn't even need a Chess.com account. It's just tap and play. Head over to go.chess.com/iMessage or use the command iMessage in chat to learn more. Your subscription makes shows like this possible, which is why our Twitch subscribers will never see ads on Chess.com. Connect your Chess.com account and Twitch account at go.chess.com/connect accounts, and bang, boom, voila, you're done. 100% ad-free bliss forevermore. Whether you're following our events on site or on stream, type the command connect in the chat, and thank you for helping bring these shows to life.
Oh my goodness, knight d8? Whoa.
Bishop g5 with mate.
No way!
It has to give it.
Mate! You voted mate!
Chance, look, f7. Oh, whoa, no! 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 We're just waiting on Lei's choice here.
Ah, no! She didn't play that!
Kudos to Lei Tinjie for a really, really impressive performance.
Lei Tinjie has won this match. Huge congratulations. What a performance. Great games.
And that's it!
Resignation!
That's it!
Lei Tinjie, the winner of the 2023 Candidates Finals. Congratulations to Lei Tinjie and her supporters.
Welcome back, everyone. And we are there in Shanghai as the reigning three-time Women's World Champion Ju Wenjun plays with the Black Pieces for the last time in Shanghai against her talent challenger, Lei Tinjie. And we left you with Lei Tinjie, well, deep in thought as she considered her prospects. And in the end, she took the most natural choice. And I have to say, very quickly, Ju Wenjun responded, and the atmosphere must be intense right now. And there we can see on the camera Ju Wenjun had in her hands, thinking deeply, because Ju Wenjun has taken a step that she can never undo. She's pushed her forward, pawn forward to attack the knight, and it is going to get critical. As Christina says there in chat, this match is about to explode.
Right, we've all been waiting for this first decisive game, right? We're discussing it, how it might influence the whole flow of the match, because once somebody, one of the players achieved this long-awaited victory, then it might put so much extra pressure onto her opponent, and it might lead to sharper games, to more mistakes, and to all this excitement we've been waiting for.
Yes, as you mentioned, we are waiting for that decisive game, because suddenly the whole dynamic of the match changes, because we can all remember what it was like when Magnus Carlsen faced off against Fabiana Caruana, and the two just kept drawing. And in the end, everything had to be decided by tie breaks. And really, we want the drama of Ding Liren and Jan Nepomniachtchi, where it was just one lost, the other one lost. Come back galore.
An unbelievable match, but I think so hard to repeat. I don't think we're gonna witness something similar in World Championship matches in the years to come. Just was one of a kind, really.
That was certainly a historic match. And, we did see Ju Wenjun attack the knight, Lei Tinjie, calmly. And I like the way that she placed the knight on f3. She did it and reinforced the square. And a very natural decision there from Lei Tinjie. And the question is, how are you going to back up c5? Because we've looked at this move before. I don't think we were entirely serious, but somehow or other, the players, we seem to be channeling the players. I'm not sure that's entirely.
Today it works better, than the days before. Probably we just kind of get used to their styles, and we're now guessing the moves more accurately than, because in the first two games we were not really good in predicting their moves, while here, every single one we've discussed before.
We have discussed this before. And, c5 is a committal move, because after all, it does make this bishop on a7, as we've highlighted. Let me just get rid of that arrow. It makes this bishop on a7 bad, and at the same time, it gives black a backward d pawn. And, of course, backward pawns have targets on their back. So white's dream is simply to exchange a few pieces and then just start controlling the square in front of this backward pawn. That's the d5 square. And then once you do that, you just simply pile up and attack it. That was a prescription that was advocated by Nimzovich moons and moons ago. And what Ju Wenjun, she has to take active measures. And we were looking at moves like bishop c6 in order to try, after knight takes knight, bishop c6, try to get d5. It's also possible that she could she even think about going b5? I mean, that's a very maximalist move. I see that being suggested by the computer. I don't think I would play b5.
Yeah, it looks very, very dangerous, but it does, take onto control the c4 square. And still, when you play b5, you kind of expect white to play a4 at some point, right? And because this pawn on b5 is so easily can get under attack, because the a5 and c5 pawns are already gone also forward, and you start wondering whether you really need this kind of move to happen. Because if you capture on a4, play b4, same knight takes c5, knight c4 possibilities are in there, and white can try them on.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Maybe you shouldn't allow a4 and then go all alpha 0. So if you go not b5, but instead a4.
Yes.
But really, this is
Interesting.
sophisticated chess, because,
Right.
Who can, with a good conscience, ignore the bad possibilities of d6? I'm not sure about playing a4. I think.
But what happens if
What do
I
we
capture on a5 and play knight c4 anyway? Because basically I think, but I'm not sure whether capturing on e4 after a4, yes, whether it's really like a good plan for white, because I improve black's structure, it seems, right, by capturing it. The pawn from d6 goes away, and
still there's also this kind of issue as well. So no.
Wait, queen c7.
Well, hang on,
bishop a4, there is always b5. So queen c7.
Yeah. Queen c7. Yes. And also the pawn on e4 is hanging. So queen c7.
And that's what I was saying. It's not so clear to me whether white actually gained a lot because of this capture on e5. And
yeah. And going, so I agree with that, because b5 is actually coming next, and white doesn't have a serious home for this knight. Knight need posts. They need anchored square. So, for instance, d5 is an anchored square because it's protected by the pawn on e4. Definitely.
I can play knight d6, but it just seems so slow, and it doesn't seem.
Yeah, I feel like rook comes to d8. One rook.
Exactly. That's why I was thinking about actually playing queen to d6, but it felt. I thought that I just instead of knight d6, queen to d6, with the idea that if black captures, then I capture with a knight and I attack the pawn on b7. But I don't really understand. Bishop to c6. Does white still have any advantage left, or I kind of exchanged everything away?
Well, you're allowed c4 though, right?
c4, yes, that's exactly the move that I consider now.
Yeah, so I was thinking instead of bishop c6, maybe you can go b5 just to.
Yes, fair enough.
Grab space.
Yes, maybe, and if I play c4 anyway.
Yeah.
It always double-edged though, because I also give away the d4 square, but your knight is still quite free from it. Black has to play b4, no?
Yeah, has to play b4. And a3 pawn chain is coming your way. I don't know who this benefits, to be honest with you. I like black's position just because I feel like a pawn on a3 is going to be very scary.
Right.
But then again, there's swings and roundabouts, as we say in the UK. The bishop on a7 is defending a c5 pawn. It's not great. and it's just going to be about who can maneuver their knight into the center in a more powerful way. So that one is very double-edged. So maybe the solution is not, as you've indicated, to capture on e5. Maybe the solution is, and
what is
this
it
unfortunately does fails to this. And black steals the b2 pawn, right?
Yeah, very far away. But wait, can't we just take on e5 first? Did you play?
Okay, you want to take?
And then take on...
Yeah. And then
take on e4. Why didn't I consider just taking?
Yeah.
I don't know. I often don't consider simple moves, so that's my drawback.
Yeah, this is very simple. This looks also quite good. I just wondered, where is... I'm just a pawn down.
So maybe a4 is too brave after all, right?
A4 is too brave. A2 just loses material. So yeah, that's is not going to happen. So knight f no. So let's go back to the position. Knight 4 to f3. Ooh,
what to do?
Decision time
right,
for Ju Wenjun, and she's burning her time. She's now down to 47 minutes, and we're just 15 moves into the game. And just to remind everyone of the time control, the players did get 90 minutes to make 40 moves. And then once they've passed their move 40, they do get this bonus time of 30 minutes. And remember, they also get bonus time from move 1 of 30 seconds per move.
Right.
So not quite serious time pressure, but you feel like, considering we're just out of the opening and the critical stage is yet to come, then Ju Wenjun has to make a decision quickly.
Yeah, half of the time is gone already. And 25 moves is still to go. And well, we expect that the middle game would be than the opening, right? Somehow I always get this feeling because, we have some opening preparation. We spend so much time nowadays analyzing openings, while middle games are so much more complicated. But for some reason, it's not always the case. Sometimes mistakes or inaccuracies that you make in the opening kind of so costly that middle games are too late to think about already at this point.
Yeah.
But still, generally speaking, usually there are 3 stages of a chess game, and each of them shall not be easier to play than the previous one.
And there we see bishop c6 played. This was, according to our feeling, the most natural move, just to put the pressure on the e4 point. And I think it's just irresistible, right? You want to break out with a d5. You want to be able to get rid of your weaknesses at bishop c6. And there, I always just look at the evaluation bar. And the evaluation bar is like creeping up in white's favor. So what can white play?
Just knight takes e5 and a4, the moves that we discussed, kind of...
as easy as that.
Well,
yes,
stopping a4. Not knight c4, but a4 first. Maybe knight c4, by the way, is great as well. But I was just, too lazy to calculate all those knight e4, bishop e4 moves.
I agree. You got to be practical. This is where you save minutes on your clock, and
exactly.
You just go a4.
A4,
and you have this square on b5. And one of my friends, he went up from being a 2100 all the way to being a 2350, and he did it within the space of a year. Wow. And we asked him, how did this happen? Because it wasn't like he was young either. And he had a job and everything. And he said, well, actually he started looking after his squares. So he treated squares like money, and so he would say, well, I'm going to be careful about conceding control, in this case the b5 square. So by looking after those things, and we are going to well, Alexandra. Looks like our prediction game is on point, and now we are expecting, I should just refresh to the game continuation.
Well, yes, to rephrase a very famous phrase out of the Russian literature classics, that good moves. It's so easy to make good moves,
Yeah. I like also how Yasser does it. So Yasser, after the players have predicted their moves, he goes, yeah, these guys are good.
Exactly. You see how strong we are. And yes, the players kind of agree with the commentators. Nice job, players. Very proud of you. Yes.
Yeah. And okay, a4, securing control of the b5 square, very natural move. We also touched upon knight c4, but then we weren't sure about bishop takes e4.
I was too lazy. Yeah, you were proposing, suggesting
but that was only because
c4.
I forgot. I completely forgot about the pawn on e4 being on pre. But having said all that, Lei Tinjie has a very direct, aggressive style, and she will be gearing her mind towards knight. And bishop takes e4. a4, natural, good, nothing wrong.
Yeah, but
knight
okay.
c4.
The only thing, bishop
takes e4. So this is the only thing.
Of course, white is not really losing this pawn, right? Because she always can take on h6, like bishop takes e4, knight takes e4. She can take on e5. There are many pawns that hanging. So it's not really a sacrifice, but rather a possibility, an exchange that might not be possible. I mean, you don't have to. Again, the position seems to offer this choice, and you can make this choice, just simply out of those pragmatic feelings that you just don't want to let extra possibilities to your opponent.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't feel that inspired by moves like knight takes e5. I feel like that's a bit too helpful. And I'm more, like in this type of position, I would be like drawn to playing a4. But I'm a pawn down, and that stresses me out. So I agree.
I mean, you can always take on h6, bishop takes h6, and a4 is played.
A4 plays.
But it's so, again, easy moves that look so natural and good. Why to start even calculating something else?
Exactly. And also, you save time on the clock, and the clock will become very important in the next few moves, because it's still Ju Wenjun has not equalized yet. Queen e7, because her bishop, and the reason why she hasn't equalized is because her bishop on a7 is just bad, and she has conceded control over the b5 square. So these are the things that give Lei Tinjie a small advantage, and Lei Tinjie has a flexibility. And now my move is, because I really want to play knight c4, is queen f3, and I want to connect the rooks. Queen f3,
yes.
Overprotect e4. Maybe you also set up some tactical tricks like bishop takes h6. They don't work right now, but if the queen is on f3, can be a problem because knight f6 is loose. Ooh, so interesting moment. What is Lei Tinjie going to play?
Cool. Queen e2.
Queen e2. Okay.
So what's
this
her
is the
plan?
first time I haven't guessed the move. Queen e2.
Yes.
What's the plan?
Why queen e2, not queen f3? Because the plan was putting the knight on c4, probably heading somewhere to f5. Seemed so, tempting. Now, actually, the players blitzing out the moves. Queen e2, rook f2, d8, and we'll see what white has in mind. Because she didn't protect the pawn on e4, at least directly. Of course, you always can play knight c4 and having this bishop takes h6 ideas in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out.
What else can she do?
It's... Yeah. Oh, Queen e2. Is it just to get f3? But it's f3 and queen.
You want to move this knight away from d2, right?
I really do. I mean, there's an open D line, and I'm just itching to set up a challenge. Even though, if I'm objective about it, I don't need to panic because black actually doesn't have any entry points. You know, every square is covered. D3, D2, D4, D5. You literally can't go to any of them.
Actually, that's one of also the big difference of the position and why this position is a little bit like white has some advantage because of the fact that the square on d5 cannot be protected by any of black's pawns.
Yeah.
Same with the b5 square, as you mentioned. While white, because of the fact that the pawn is still on c3, it protects d4 square and b4 is under control. So black has more weak squares and further advanced pawns that, for the moment, kind of stuck on this black squares, a5, c5, e5, looks as a...
Yeah. They don't make a great impression, do they? So, okay. But the question for Lei Tinjie is, how is she going to cover it? How is she going to consolidate?
Yeah, she made this queen e2 move so fast that I was expecting to see her next move was also happening pretty fast, because usually you kind of connect your moves with a plan, right? If you play queen e2, usually you have something in mind what's coming next, why you moved your queen to e2. And now she's taken some time to think. So of course she might play f3 and bishop f2 and then knight c4. But you see, I'm trying to get back to this plan of like bringing the knight to c4 and then putting some pressure on a5 and e5, and then maybe even considering playing knight e3 at a certain moment. And
yeah, you get rid of the bishop on FDI, put it on here. Let's just highlight. So say, for instance, you go f3, just to overprotect the e4 pawn, and then, I don't know, just let's pretend rook d7, then this is the idea. Let me protect
rook
that.
Rook f to d1.
Rook f, okay. Let me just head there. Rook e to d1. Okay, she's keeping things flexible. Still no f3.
f3 has its drawbacks because it kind of covers this d1 h5 diagonal. It lets black play knight h5 at certain moments, and white cannot want to avoid
Weakens
that.
your dark squares, yeah. So definitely there are pros and cons to that move. I mean, I'm also thinking, one thing we've been banging on about is the b5 square, so I wonder whether her plan is to go bishop d3 and bishop b5 and get the queen in.
Interesting,
Just an idea. Or maybe bishop d3 to go bishop c4. Could that be a plan? But, Ju reacting very quickly with bishop to b8.
She has some plan in mind, right? How to improve her position, probably bringing the bishop to c7, like strengthening her structure on the queen side by playing b6. And, certain positions are about plans, about regrouping your pieces. And it's here you don't really calculate lines, as that's why she plays so fast. We see that Lei is surprised by her opponent's choice. Probably she didn't consider this maneuver of moving the bishop to c7 from a7.
Yeah.
But it does make a lot of faces.
She does, doesn't she? She's always very expressive. It's a relief to see someone who wears their heart on their sleeve when they're playing chess. You know, when she's surprised, she lets everyone know. What is that happening? I once played an opponent, talking about faces, who literally gurned at the board, and every move I played, it was like he was gurning away, just going. And I was like, and the worst was when he sacrificed the queen. Really, it was more out of desperation. But then he kind of like confused me so much with these like weird faces that I was like, I'm not going to take that queen. And then someone wrote about it in a chess column, and they said, shocking lack of confidence from Juvenka. I was like,
those commentators, right? They can be so cruel to the players. Yeah. Yes. But you know why Lei can be surprised, actually? Now I realized why is she so surprised by this move. Because suddenly, after bishop b8, the rooks, just for a moment, the black's rooks, are disconnected. And that gives you an idea of a possibility of playing knight f1, because the back rank suddenly became weaker. And just somehow, because of this fact, knight takes e4 might be, well, not possible, because let's say if black takes on e4, or first they can start by capturing on d1, it doesn't matter. Bishop takes c5, exactly, and the rook on d8 is hanging. Or if rook takes d1, rook takes d1 was already included. Then after queen c5, there is rook d8 and queen e4 check. And again, for a second, like the rooks got disconnected, and that gives like more possibilities, that bring more tactical possibilities in to the position. Yes, and bishop takes c5.
This is. Well, I think I've done something. That was not the move I wanted. I don't know what happened there.
But yeah, that's the right line there as well.
I don't know, queen rook d8 and then king h7. Suddenly I looked at it, I was like, there's no queen on the board.
But that's correct. I mean, if the queen goes to d8, why not capture it? Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, queen takes c4 check. And this is going to be game over for black, because king is in trouble, but also the b7 pawn will drop. And nice tactical spot there, Alexandra. So knight f1. But I'm guessing that black is not going to
bishop d7, I suppose. Anyway,
and well, so you say you just go bishop c7.
c7, yeah, but in that case, at least we managed to bring our knight to g3 to protect this pawn on e4, and maybe nothing terrible still for black, but at least
it's scary, right?
For the knight.
The knight comes to f5, and then the queen has to take a step back. You can see the situation and then the queen comes here. Well, we're getting our plan that we always wanted. The queen comes to f3 eventually, and then you can back this up by.
Yeah, I remember attending some training camp in my childhood, and coaches there promised us kids a cake if we manage to get our knight in this kind of structure to f5 or to f4. So they said to us, remember, the knight on f5 is a cake. So you just need to get there.
Well, if you're giving food as an incentive, I think that one will always stick. Knight on f5 deserves a cake. I like that one. And the knight f1, what a nice idea. That's a great tactical spot, because like you say, like knight comes into f5. Here you feel like black can do whatever they like. Okay, that's not black, sorry. White can do whatever they like and go b3 just to stop the queen coming into a2 or whatever. And then you can just torture your opponent with small little waiting moves.
Right. I still wonder how much of a torture it would be if black just will start, trying to exchange everything on the d file, like rook takes d1, rook takes d1, rook d8. No, that's actually why black kind of transposed her bishop to c7. to be able to, well, to make this bishop play in a way.
Yeah.
So on a7, it was just looking at the c5 pawn, and here helps the
Yeah.
rook to exchange. Maybe still some ideas such as rook d8, bishop d8, and queen to g3. Who knows?
Yeah,
You know.
I was looking at queen to g3 immediately, but okay, this one is also still. Are you forced to go g6? No, because
Well, the
something's
pawn on
will
h6
hang.
is hanging, right?
Yeah. I remember playing Katerina Lagno, and she just did g6 against me. I remember building something up like this, and she just went g6, and I was like, "You're giving me the pawn on h6," and then I realized that my pawn on e4 was hanging. I was like, clever girl.
But I still can take the invitation and capture on h6. And then after king g7 or h7, I don't know, h7 probably. F8 you wanted to go. Okay, then...
just because it's an endgame. Run to the center.
Probably you're right. Yeah. Still, my move would be queen to f3, back to f3, because I have the square on g4 protected for the knight. And I am about to get there to g4 and start wondering why black gave up the whole pawn.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Although, I was just thinking, what could black do to kind of cause some
queen to
problems?
c4 or something.
Queen to 8. Queen to c4.
Queen e2, maybe even better. Yeah, you're right.
But it does feel like white can do this at liberty. So, for instance, you could set up this whole construction, but get it with b3, for instance. Anyway, well, that's kind of like very deep.
Well, I think I was very imprecise with queen f3. Now I start realizing that queen h4 with the king on h7 might have been, a little bit more unpleasant. So that's why probably the first place king f8 is stronger. But anyway, looks very risky for black.
It definitely looks risky, and this going back to the main position. So this was the idea, this tactical point of knight to f1, transferring the knight to g3, and we were looking at direct goes as well, but it is also possible to get the knight to g3, take some time out with b3 to stop any counterplay on the queen side, and then jump in. And no. Queen c4.
That's not what Lei has in mind. And that's why she probably played queen e2 in the first place. She was getting ready to get her queen to c4, where it protects the pawn on e4, it attacks the pawn on c5, and probably that's why she was surprised to see the bishop on going to b8, because it just gives her time when she gets to c4, right? Because as she attacks the pawn on c5, and if black plays b6 right now, she might have something connected with b4.
Okay, and that looks very spicy. So let's dive in. b6, b4, because I expect Ju Wenjun to react this way. And
bishop d6, probably just protecting this pawn. Again, I mean, it feels it feels scary, but maybe it's not that bad for black after all. Her position is pretty solid, and this whole plan with white playing on the queen side might not be what the position actually required.
Yeah, but it does feel scary. So instinctively, I'm looking at this, okay, and I don't think white necessarily should rush to trade pawns on c5. You can do that at leisure.
This cake offer, that's why it kind of disturbs me when I look at this position. You see how easily kids are influenced. You say one thing about a cake in their childhood, and for the whole lifetime, you try to get your knight to f5, no matter what. Now I look at this position, I see this cake, and I scream for playing knight f1. Yeah, I scream, right? I scream.
Yeah.
That's
Very good, very good. I like the pun.
And
Ice
my
cream.
daughter liked all this kind of thing. Here's your milk, here's your shake. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, ice cream and cake.
And cake. Yeah, it's all about sweets, guys. It's all about childhood. That's why I say, why it's so easy to learn certain things when you're a kid. If you like get a very good mentor, right, or a coach, some may say it's not that important, but I just do see how all those things that they help
Definitely.
in a way.
They definitely help. Like, that you pick up certain expressions. And so, for instance, like I've had one of my friends say, he talks about lock and key. If you have the pawn breaks, you have the key to open up the lock that is opening up the line up to the bishop. And I do know that in some countries, traditionally we think of chess as a battle game. We think of it as weapons, etc. But they're trying to move away from that kind of idea, and instead they refer to the chess pieces as animals. So, for instance, the rooks, I know that they're rhinos, so they're just like a stampede across from one side to the other, and it makes a really nice visual image. And I think the king is a giraffe. Slowly doing.
Right.
and well, I've noticed that when I use this kind of imagery with kids, it really, really does help. And even naming the pawns, like I have a philosophy when it comes to naming the pieces. I think it's fair. It should be 50% male, 50% female. So the pawns should have 50%
gender equality.
Exactly. And maybe.
But actually, I think all pawns are girls, no?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they will. They want to become queens. How?
Yeah, exactly.
I consider pawns to be girls.
Yeah, so I have that kind of philosophy. Like, so half. That's my thing.
Okay,
half.
Okay,
and she, they, he. That's all about inclusivity. Just
right.
a big fan of that. And I like your idea of knight f1. I think it's very dangerous. Just to come with a knight to g3. And knight to f5. And the great thing about Lei's position, and I saw some of the chat saying that they feel that Lei is slightly better, and she is slightly better, and it's all to do with the fact that Lei has this b5 square. She has the potential to open up the position, and she has control of the light squares. And do you remember what I said a long, long time ago? That this grandmaster told me the key to these Italian games is all to do with light square bishop. Once again, this bishop is a better bishop than the c6 square. And who would have thought it when the bishop was on c2 and looking at its pawn on d3? Somehow, it is.
Yeah. Okay, Ju is about to make her move. Well, I don't think she had a lot of choice, right? Rather, probably choosing between b6 or bishop d6. And now, it's in Lei's turn.
I said so in chat, someone tell Simon that it's now Hannah the h-pawn.
Yes,
Anna
exactly.
the a-pawn. Goodbye, Harry.
Right.
I love this.
We have a revolution going on, yes, here.
And b6 on the board. And then the question, b4. It's such a move in Lei's style, Lei Tinjie style, to go b4, force Ju Wenjun on the defensive.
I ask for knight f1, please. At some point. Yes, I'm getting hungrier.
Let them eat cake. No, I will never forget this. And she's actually twiddling a piece.
Yeah.
This is the big fashion right now, that everyone sits there, they grab their opponent's piece that's been captured, and they just twirl it around. And
it helps you. Yeah, sometimes.
I was told that when you master how to do this, because trust me, it takes practice, because I tried to do this during the Olympiad and I just kept dropping the piece.
Right.
And I felt very old, very old-fashioned. I couldn't even manage something so basic. But anyway, they said that the whole point of it is that the tension, rather than be there in your in your brain, in your body. It gets transferred to this piece. So just by doing this, you can just focus yourself on just playing good chess. And I guess you can practice, right? They always talk about visualization. You should practice with certain like body things that say, for instance, Nadal is always bouncing the ball. So, and then this will help you get into that flow state. So,
sometimes I compare it with there are beats, some certain beats that you play with when you pray or something. And with pieces, it's kind of the same. It's some kind of ritual or almost like meditation. Yeah, you put the pressure, you release the pressure by like playing with your pieces while your mind can focus on calculation. And I don't know, I find it quite helpful.
Yeah. So you do it yourself. When did you start adopting this?
Recently. I didn't have this. Just 2 years ago. But I just now.
I can see that. I can see literally you go into a chess tournament hall, like when I was at the Grand Swiss,
rotating pieces.
Everyone was like rotating the pieces. And I was like, I need to get me in on this game. And then I did, and then I dropped pieces.
But the problem that I sometimes have, because when I rotate, it's all about pawns. They are smallest, right? And you can like switch them and rotate them more easily, because if you grab a bigger piece, a knight or a bishop, they tend to fall away. And that's why I feel very uncomfortable when there are no pawns exchanges, when there are no pawns next to the board. Sometimes there are close positions and I have only like bishops and knights standing next to the board, or no pieces at all. What do you do? In that case, another problem. You should bring an extra pawn to your games. That's what I should consider.
I was just thinking that the arbiters on everyone just needs to kind of say, okay, this is a thing to help everybody, so we're going to put a set of pawns. Did you ever see that clip where I think it's Kramnik against Gelfand? So Gelfand really liked to do this piece spinning thing.
Yes.
But he liked to do it with his own color pawns. He reached over, he grabbed one of Kramnik's captured pawns. And then Kramnik was like, I'm going to do the same.
Right. Now imagine like a player approaching another board where there were already some exchanges, those exchanges had already happened, and you just approach this board and say, do you mind if I borrow your exchange piece? I'm sorry, may I? Mm-hmm.
And even better if you steal it from them without telling them. And then they want to do the piece twirling, and you're like, oh no, you can't.
Right, yeah.
Oh, this is the way to fight. If you have any enemies in chess, I recommend steal their pieces and twirl with them. Okay, that's so bad. We're not encouraging anyone to
steal anything. Right.
Just having fun. And b4 on the board, as we predicted.
Why does she keep the knight on d2? Okay, now after bishop d6, it's going to be her last chance. Come on.
Yeah, it is going to be her last chance. But I think with the bishop on d6 is much more attractive to put the knight on a f. Well, it was attractive to begin with, but even more attractive to put it on f5.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think after bishop d6, we're going to see knight f1 and let them eat cake. As I now discovered, a knight on f5 gets cake.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, for the moment, the pawn on c5 is under attack. And of course, you can protect it by playing knight d7, but it looks weird, right?
I mean, it looks totally weird, but we haven't seen an immediate response from Ju Wenjun, because bishop d6 looks natural. But then again, one of the things we have seen throughout these games so far is that both sides, they tend to use their time very wisely and not make committal moves too early. But I mean, could she really seriously be considering knight d7? For me, it's a no. Bishop D6.
See, sometimes it's an interesting. Now I said it looks weird, and then I tried to find an explanation why actually she just captured the pawn on B4. Oh, and played Bishop D6. But what about? I see
now
Valvar,
B5 is way more attractive, right?
Because A5, all the games with A5, and even just capturing on C5, and having this advanced pawn on the A file might be.
Okay, wait 1 second. Big moment here. So A5 could be possible.
But B5, there is B5 still, so
B5 as well is way more attractive now.
No, I mean, if you play A5 with white, black still holds
B5.
the position by playing B5 and then playing C4 after queen C3, right? And they're doing fine. So A5 is not possible straight away. Yeah, B5 is very tempting because after Bishop B7, if we can somehow bring the knight to C4 at some point, and she does play B5, I believe. Very fast, very convincingly. And Bishop B7. And now the plan can be to bring the knight to C3. Somehow I still want to move it away from D2 and or to C4. The only problem is that how to bring it to C4 and still have knight D7. Okay, Bishop D7. Okay, we start. Something went wrong. We start to guess.
But Bishop D7 again. Okay, her answer she's playing this in order to meet knight C4 with maybe some bishop takes C4. I was thinking knight C4 just because it's such a beautiful square, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But A5.
But the queen is still there, and with the bishop on B7, it was quite hard to move the queen away and still have this pawn protected twice, right, on A4. While after bishop D7, now I can simply play queen to C3, preparing this square for C4, the C4 square, and also having an eye on A5, because if black plays bishop E6 after queen C3, which, it feels as they need to do, to take the C4 square under control, then at certain moments, like A5 might become an interesting idea.
It certainly is an interesting idea, and it looks like if we go back to the analysis position, it looks like Lei Tinjie now has a clear upper hand. And wow, I wasn't expecting this. We'll see what happens. But now is the perfect time to mention the most elite tournament in bullet chess returns. You do not want to miss the 4th ever Bullet Chess Championship, featuring the most formidable lineup the event has ever seen. For the first time, Magnus Carlsen joins the fray, where reigning champ Hikaru Nakamura and 2021 champion Alireza Firouzja await. 16 of the greatest names in speed chess will enter the arena to fight for their share of the $100,000 prize fund. It all kicks off on July 17th at 9 a.m. Pacific. Use !BCC in chat for all the details. Exciting chess, and we'll be right back after this break with more coverage of the 2023 FIDE Women's World Chess Championship.
Today we're going to go down into the New York City subway, set up a table on the subway platform, and see if we can get some strangers waiting for their trains to play chess with us.
All right, now I'm going to see if I can get anybody. Hey. I'll be white. White. Yeah, because I need all the advantage I can get.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not that good.
Yeah? You're just out here playing chess, not that good.
Got the chess.com app. You ever play on your phone?
Oh, yeah.
You said you barely played.
I'm a teacher.
What do you teach?
Chess. I'm just kidding. Self-defense.
How do you stay sane?
I used to do a lot of meditation, take medication.
What's like lesson 101 of self-defense?
Run.
What are you listening to right now? Train, Sean Paul, Ed Sheeran. What is the meaning of life?
It's funny because like what I'm doing, I feel like doesn't align with my philosophy on what the meaning of life is, but it's like obviously spend as much time with family as possible.
Be the best person you can be. Get closer to God. Not to be evil to each other.
There you go.
Good game. Thanks for playing. Good game. Thanks for playing.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you in a self-defense class. Enjoy Harry Styles.